Welcome to episode 25 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. My name is not Ryan Fox, and I'm here with my fire team, Jared.
Hey man, that was a banger to come into the podcast with.
And Vex Mythachad.
No. It's Vex Liss Mytho Chad. All right? Get that straight.
Today is Thursday, September 9th, Destiny's 7th birthday, and we are coming to you from YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and all other podcast services. Make sure you guys subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, unsubscribe, and then subscribe for the last time to our podcast. Click the bell, turn on notifications. We have another light TWAB this week. So we've kind of filled in some weapon reviews and, of course, the very popular gambling corner. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us all Bungie friend requests. Jared, let's get weird.
All right, first things up, the intro music, awesome. We was in a game of Banner, and this guy sent us friend requests. So it was on the opposite team. We're like, well, this is probably going to be some kind of hate mail, right? And then we noticed the name was Link, and then Fox was like, "Hey, that Link dude just followed us on Twitter." He was like, "All right, we'll accept the friend request then." And then the next day he tweeted out, if anybody needs musics and commissions, he might be considering opening up to it. You know, Fox DM'd him. We listened to some of his stuff, and it's awesome. And we got that amazing intro music now.
Yeah, I'm going to post a link to all his socials and stuff in the description of the podcast. Make sure you guys go there, check it out. Some of his stuff is absolutely insane. To me, it sounds like Bungie level. A lot of his stuff. I think we might have just got in on the ground floor right before somebody takes off.
Yeah, he's on Twitter at LinkOfTimeG. So we'll have that posted for you. So you mentioned, Fox, today is the 7th birthday of Destiny. So
happy birthday to you.
So in honor of that, I poured myself 7 ounces of bourbon to celebrate. I did measure it out. What are you all doing to celebrate this amazing day?
I have 7 cans of IPAs. So that's how I'm celebrating during the podcast.
I'm a member of the Hydro Homies, so water. Water's what I got. I'll drink 7 gallons of it before I go to sleep.
Proof, or it didn't happen.
So what if some of your best favorite moments that over the last 7 years in Destiny? So for me, it's when the one I can always think is when I got Galahorn to drop from the Gorgon chest at Vault of Glass. I'll never forget that.
I don't even remember the first time I got a Galahorn. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I got it like twice within a week of each other. Like that I do remember, but I don't remember where. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if it was a random drop or if it was from a chest. It just, the first time I was like, oh shoot. And then the second time I'm like, again. And one of my homies that didn't have it yet, so he was mad. But man, I can't even remember how I got it. I never got anything good out of those raid chests ever. So that Vogue chest still makes me mad to this day.
I got my Galahorn from a Nightfall reward, actually, is where I got mine. I got it probably, I would say, halfway to the halfway to the Dark Below. So like halfway through vanilla. And I remember being really upset because if you recall the way they did the weapon leveling system, you had to upgrade your exotics in the Dark Below. So I still had like the vanilla version, and I didn't get the upgraded version that went to like 320 or whatever it was back then until it was actually sold. I think Zur sold the upgrade or something, so I was a little late getting that. But Vex Mythoclast, I got it early again, so that's one of my favorite guns.
Yep. Another fun memory.
Yeah, go ahead, Jared. My bad.
Is like I didn't raid a lot in Destiny 1, and then in Destiny 2, I was like in college whenever it started, so I didn't really have a lot of time to do that. But I remember when we finally started getting into farming Riven and trying to get 1,000 voices. And my second time going through, Fox was like, Jared's getting it. Jared's getting it. I already know. And yeah, I got it second run. But then on the next 7 runs, I also got it another 4 times. So I was at a 50% drop rate through my first 10 runs. And I'll never forget that time. Just going through and just laughing whenever I open up the chest and everybody's cussing me in comms, Are you kidding me? No way you got it again. But yeah, I did.
Yeah, that was that was I had a lot of trouble getting that one to drop. I think I was at 33 chest, which to me that's a long time. To some people, that's just par for the course that are part of this podcast. But to me that seemed like an eternity. But as far as my favorite Destiny memory, it's easily Vault of Glass. The first time you go through it, and it just feels like it's something that had never been done before on the console. I know World of Warcraft had done it, but I wasn't a World of Warcraft player. I was a console player, and it was my favorite company making something that was the most incredible thing I've ever played. So that mystique, and is there a hidden seventh chest and all that stuff? Like, I was a sucker for all that. So that's probably the only reason this game still exists today, is that Vault of Glass was so good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most poignant moment to me was the first time going to the lighthouse with some homies. We basically raid teamed up. It was always us three, and then they had some friends that also played, and they rotated those other three. But we went through Vault of Glass. We went week one. We went with Crota. We did all that stuff, and then finally one of them was like, "Dude, we haven't been to the lighthouse yet." And I'm like, you know what, man? I'm not that crazy of a PvP player. But he's like, all right. So we got in there. He's like, I'm not expecting much, but let's do this. And man, if that wasn't the sweatiest 7 hours of my life, but oh man, that final flawless card, it was absolute banger. I think 2 out of the 7 wins I clutched up and got it, and the other 5 were from one of the other guys. We weren't carrying the other dude, but he was consistently better than me. I just happened to be the last person and clutched for the win twice, and I was like, yes. And that, man, getting that adept or like that elemental primary, it was so good. It was the hand cannon at the time, and that was awesome. It
Yeah,
just felt
I'm,
real
I'm gonna
good.
make my. Yeah, I had, what was it called, like the Water Star or something? I think that was, it was either the Pulse or the hand cannon. That's the I went flawless one time. I was a very hard carry. I won like a raffle on Twitter or something, got carried through, and that's the only time I've ever even sniffed the lighthouse. So, but yeah, it was fun. It was intense, and I did it probably in the last 4 to 5 months of Destiny One's like relevancy before D2 came out. So
All right. So 7 years has been a long time. So the last 7 years, I know my life has changed dramatically. I was in college, and now I'm married and with a dog. In my house is my child. But I know Fox's life has changed a lot over the last 7 years.
yeah, man. So I had already graduated college. I'm a nurse, a registered nurse. I was pretty early on in my career. I was dating my now wife at the time, and I worked 6 a to 2:30 p, and then she would go to work and work like 4 to midnight, 4 to 1 at like a restaurant. So I would wake up, go to work, come home, spend some time with my wife, and then play Destiny for like 8 or 9 hours every single night. So, no kids. I now have 2 kids, a 4-year old and a 2-year old. I'm married. Uh, so, man, things change, but things are still the same. I've been playing these bunch of games for a long time, and I don't see it. It's definitely, I don't get to play as much as I used to. I would play, from 4 o'clock to midnight. Now I don't even get online till 9:30 in the evening, and I'm still trying to get up at 7 o'clock to go to work. So, some nights I miss completely, unfortunately, but that's how it is. It's totally worth it once you have kids. It kind of puts things in perspective. But things are different, but they're still weirdly the same.
Nothing changed here. Nothing at all. Playing games, having fun, doing what I want to do. That's how I like it.
Absolutely. And this game has just grown tremendously over the last 7 years. And they play a little tribute to it in the TWAB this week. And they also had a special article about it. And they have some really good artwork in there. So go check that out. Some pretty cool photos and stuff for that. And concept art they did. And that Destiny was the original name was Project Tiger at Bungie, which is something I didn't know. So first thing on the TWAB is really get has any meat on the bone for us is Trials of Osiris returns tomorrow, September 10th. And we've gone through these changes before, but I'll go ahead and give you a quick reminder. Okay. So when Trials goes live, there's reputation rank ups now, just like Shax and Drifter and Zavala. There's no more 357 rewards because you have no losses don't matter. It's either you have a loss or you don't on your card. And then they removed weekly bounties. Instead, we have 2 round win drops. So it's like win 7 rounds and then win 50. I think that's what they set them at. Special ammo is not carrying over from round to round. Crossplay has to be enabled for you to opt in to play. But still, console people is going to be with console people. PC is going to be with PC. So it basically means that those PS5 and the Xbox Series X people will be able to match with each other. And then third-person peeking is finally removed. You can't bring out a sword unless it has ammo, and no more emotes. So awesome! A first-person player shooter is playing like an FPS.
Yeah, you cowards.
So the big weapon that as PvEers that we're going to be looking for is this linear fusion rifle. You can get Vorpal, you can get a rapid hit. So we'll break that gun down for you after we get a roll or two of it to see how it feels. But I think that's the play for us PvEers going in there potentially this weekend, getting an engram or two to drop so we can get that engram and focus it into the linear fusion rifle. And then the next thing up is the BattlEye launch. This is just a little update. So the data they've gotten has been really good data. They've given Bungie enough confidence that they're implementing insta ban for some cheats. So there's no data yet how many people they've banned so far or how many people they've caught cheating. That's probably will come in the future, hopefully, just to give us a little bit of update of how toxic it was in this game for a little while. But all in all, this is going to be amazing for the game and the PvP stance. There's just a quick note. If you encounter cheaters, continue using the in-game reporting just in case they're getting around BattlEye in any way.
Yeah, have you? So people have been banned already, correct? This
Yes.
season.
Mm-hmm.
So I know they said it was like a soft launch. I'm still seeing people that at the bare minimum are very very sus. Like I'll be floating around. I'll be in the air coming around a corner and get my dome shot off as soon as I like get into sightline. So I'm hoping that they do that. Have you guys noticed any performance decrease since the start of this season when this is implemented? I've been seeing some of that online. That BattlEye kind of can take your performance, 5 or 10%. Have you guys noticed any of this? I haven't personally, but I didn't know if you guys had.
I haven't noticed anything besides normal beginning of the season disconnects from Bungie. I haven't noticed anything different.
Yeah, nothing here either. I honestly didn't even know about this until you just brought it up. Nothing noticeable.
Sounds good to me. I'm sure it happens, but I know
Yeah.
we're all kind of on different CPUs and GPUs, so some of us are different companies than others, so it's kind of a pretty decent mix of things. I just didn't know if it was affecting some and not others.
And I think there's the Bungie help, like Go Post that you're experiencing that, and that gives them data, and they have like a computer room at Bungie to where they have different builds that maybe they can target some of those issues and bring them up. So just shine some light on it if you can. If you're having those issues, it'll go a long way.
How many computers do you think are in that room?
I bet it's at
I
least
mean,
50.
yeah, I bet that room gets hot as hell in there. I bet they just have crazy air conditions in that room.
So this TWAB was the last one from DMG for a while. He also goes by Dylan in the IRL, and he's getting married. So congrats to him and his soon-to-be wife, and enjoy your time off. Cosmo, you better bring the heat over the next few weeks. We need some content to talk about. So DMG's not back till October. So Cosmo, come on, we're looking to you now.
Listen, I think as a podcast, we need to do a little bit of research, and we need to pick a hard stand on if we're Team Cosmo or Team DMG, and because I'm going to, I'm gonna pick a stand, and I'm gonna take a side, and I'm gonna stand hard for him.
Listen,
But
I know how to sit on a fence. I can even sleep on a fence. The trick is you put the post inside the mouth.
Yep. I remember at DMG, whenever we did our charity stream a year and a half ago or what, he popped in and said hello. So he's I'm a little partial to him, but Cosmo with the Destiny the game subreddit, I'm torn right now. So all it's going to take is one good TWAB. One good TWAB. I'm switching over to Team Cosmo.
There was on Reddit, there was a battle or a feud between the two, and it was either Team Cosmo with the cats or Team DMG bread. I'm bread all day long, baby. DMG.
All right. So what we'll get into these seasonal weapons for you, and the first one up is the well, I'm gonna need help saying this one. The
Vulpecula. Vulpecula, yeah.
Okay. It is 180 rounds per minute hand cannon, and that is stasis. So, stasis weapon. Important to the Verity Brow build, which gets you more stasis turrets. So, this is a good one to go after. For PvP, just give me as much range as possible, and then we'll go get some damage dealing perks here. So, Full Bore, Acarize, Killing Wind, and then the new perk, Adigo? Adagio. Okay, that's how it is.
Adagio.
Adage. So Adagio, whenever you get a kill, it slows the rounds per minute fire, and then your bullets do increased damage. So, I haven't seen the actual damage testing of the rounds per minute change yet, but it does. You can definitely feel it firing slower, but it deals so much more damage, and it feels really good. I don't know if y'all have played around with this perk yet.
I mean, I've only got 2 of these guns to drop, and I think one of them was like Encore Explosive Payload, and the other was Encore Harmony. So I don't even have that the good perk yet at all on any weapon. I haven't seen it whatsoever.
I got one with Headstone, and I've been messing with that. So I haven't really messed around with any of the guns with Adagio yet. So I have no say on that one. All I know is Headstone.
Yes. So Headstone brings us to the PvE wall. And again, full bore again, but I'm going to switch over to Tac Mag. Just get you a little extra ammo, little boost in stability, little more reload speed, and then shoot the loots on this gun. And that's back from D1, which is it's just fun to just shoot a box and you would have it. And then for that last column, either you want to get Headstone or Explosive Payload. Explosive Payload is good for so many reasons, especially when hand cannons have Overload mod. So it's nice to have one of those just to throw it into the vault. If you have any vault space now, it's very hard to come by. But Headstone, man, that's so much synergy when you got going on with stasis builds, destroying crystals, getting grenade energy back. I think all around, I think everybody's loving that for PvE.
Yeah, man, vault space is really an issue for me right now. I'm afraid to go through and do a vault cleanse because I have a feeling I'm going to be deleting some god rolls here in the next couple weeks. So I'm kind of trying to hold off for that. And so I'm sitting at 499 in the vault, and I have every character is holding like 7 or 8 weapons in each slot, and I've got things locked in my postmaster to make sure I don't mess up and delete those. I'm having to, after every strike or crucible, anytime I pick up a blue engram, I have to go delete it so I don't lose any more golf balls or anything in my postmaster. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess right now, and I need to hurry up and lose all my money so I can start deleting stuff. I think is kind of my best option. It's looking like.
I do want to point this out, and it's something that Bungie stated as well. But the Season of the Lost weapons are going to be on the first round of the new weapon crafting system. So if you have some rolls that you really like, but then you only get a Vulpecula with like some perks that are good, and you need the space, you can feel free to delete it for now and only keep the god roll that you want. Um, if you get like a 7, like a full 100% god roll, keep it. Otherwise, wait till the crafting system comes up, and then you can make it yourself down the line. So any of the weapons that are here for season loss, as far as seasonal weapons, I know for sure are going to be in there. World drops and stuff like that, I'm not so sure. But any of these that we're going to talk about today, if you get one that's missing a couple of perks, you're like, I'll use it for the season, but if I need the space, just feel free to get rid of it.
All right, our
Thanks for
next
that,
weapon.
man.
Yeah,
Completely overlooked
that's
that. I guess I hadn't
yeah,
heard that at all.
yeah. That weapon crafting is going to be great for the game. Great for our vaults too. All right, next weapon, the Fractalist. I think I said that one right. Stasis precision frame shotgun, but this one's a pellet spread. It's not that slug. So for PvP, range it out. Rifle barrel, assault mag, quick draw, opening shot, range masterwork, or handling masterwork. Look, I mean, it's pretty simple. Shotguns have been the meta for a long time in PvP. Everybody wants to pull them up and shoot them at a very far distance to get that one hit kill. Do everything you can to optimize that. If you're going to be aiming down sights a lot, you can definitely go full choke instead of rifle barrel in that first slot. But I don't know if I don't see very many of these precision frames being used. That's the pellets in the PvP right now. Is a lot of the lightweight frames that still fell winters being used. So it's going to take a lot to bust into those. But I think this one actually has a place in the meta. So for PvE, again, it's rifle barrel and assault mag, and then I'm gonna go ensemble, and then trench barrel. Trench barrel is pretty good. You melee and you get like a 20% damage buff for your next 3 shots. I think that's pretty great in PvE. It's been a while since shotguns have been really like the meta for up close. That hasn't been a slug. I think that's going to change at some point. Like everybody's running double slugs for DPS still, even though fusion rifle we have it for this season. But after that fusion rifle mod goes away, we're going back to slugs. So it'd be
Listen,
nice to have.
I love this shotgun. I've been getting a lot of those. So I'm at like season pass 82 or something. So trying to get up to that 125. That way I'm like GM. I got some headroom to be GM ready. I've already hit the pinnacle cap on my warlock. So I'm getting close. I'm hoping by probably not the next podcast, but the podcast after that, I should be pretty comfortably over 125, probably 130, 135. But I've been getting a lot of these stasis bounties. And with those, I have been using this shotgun and I love it. I love this shotgun. I know that it might not be like in-game content shotgun, but it is really fun, like in Gambit. I have like a dual loader Thresh that I have like 88 range on that I've been using in PvP, and then I have a dual loader trench barrel with like the extended mag on it that I've been using in Gambit. And like I said, I know that it's not like meta, but it's really fun to use, and I've really enjoyed my time with it.
You've been pairing that with the stasis warlock stuff and doing like
Yeah.
stasis final kills and stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, it works out really well. Because a lot of those bounties are like get 25 stasis kills or 25 stasis, and you can. I don't love the sidearm, the exotic sidearm that we got. I'm not a huge fan, but I really do like that shotgun. And in Gambit, you're looking at a lot of knights and a lot of yellow bars, and I'd rather use it than like Peace Bond or one of those other things that we have for it. So
All right. Our next weapon here is an auto rifle. It is Chrysler Mellow. Whenever I think of mellow, it's just I'm gonna mellow out. As that old 2K achievement of like dropping threes with Mellow and Madison Square Garden
Number
7
seven,
up.
baby. Number
Let's
7,
go.
baby.
So this is a high impact frame. So it's the slowest firing with the hardest hitting. So you're going to need some help and stability with this gun, especially in PvP. So to me, it's chambered compensator, arrowhead brake. Arrowhead brake's getting you to it's maxing out your recoil, so you're getting to get to 100 at that point. And then with Chambers Compensator, you're getting to 85, which is great. And you can throw counterbalance on if you want to get that perfect 100. And then for the mag perk, Tac Mag, just good plus stats all around. Then dramatic spray reduction and multi kill clip. But I don't see a lot of this going on in the Crucible for the most part. What do you think?
No, auto rifles aren't. I'm not a huge fan of them right now in Crucible. The best auto rifle in Crucible is the Vex Mythoclast right now, pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's practically the frame of what Vex Mythoclast is basically the same thing, but you just get 30 more RPM, and you have built-in kill clip, built-in stability, masterwork when you get the kills, and all this stuff. It nullifies other auto rifles whenever you're playing with Vex Mythoclast. And I think it's really hard for Bungie to make auto rifles decent without making them overpowered, because if I played during Season of the Rivals, and those 600 RPMs was so oppressive, and nobody wants to go back to hardlight meta ever again.
Mm-mm. Please no.
Yeah, so this is going to be pretty rangy and stuff. So if you like auto rifles and you want a little more range, there's something to compete with Vex at its distance. So that's your option if you don't have Vex to drop. But at that point, I'm not sure that's the auto rifle to use. So PvE, corkscrew rifling just gives you a little bit of everything across the board, again with Tac Mag and dramatic sway reduction, because the stability in this weapon is not good. And it's just going to help you fire it like a laser. And then for that final column, either Dragonfly or Demolitionist for me. Dragonfly is really fun in PvE, and the fact that this one hits so hard, it's pretty hard. It's a lot easier to get Dragonfly to proc.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good roll on this one. I have like polygonal accurized DSR Dragonfly with the stability masterwork. It's sitting. I pulled it up on Dim. It's at a 98 range. So I mean, it's the stability is garbage. It's but I mean, I don't like this auto rifle as much as I liked Chroma Rush from last season. That would still be my pick. But this one is, I believe it's solar, I want to say.
Yep.
So it is something that you can use to help shred some shields or something. And especially with anti-barrier this season, you could theoretically use it there.
Absolutely. There's also a chance for 4 times the charm on this weapon too. So if I was going to get 4 times the charm, I definitely want to load out for as much stability as possible. So if you're wanting to synergize that to try to break some shields, personally, this does not have disruption break, or this would be, I would say, a must-have. But at this point, it's if you like them, pick one up, and that's about it. The next one is a bow, an arc precision frame. And I feel like we have like 3 different arc bows at this point. We got Point of the Stag. Then we have another arc one. I forget what it's like. This is the 3rd one. Like, give us some variety, Bungie. But here we are. So that is the Wharf one draw. Well, did I say it right? Yeah, Wharf tone. There we go. I left out the T. PvP. Impulse Empire and Adrigo. Guess what? Same thing for PvE. I think that's just stuff that synergizes together. You get that easy reload, you get the fire faster, and then extra damage whenever you get a final blow. And then just pick your bow or your front 2 perks. I mean, it's a bow. Either your increased handling or your increased accuracy. Pick one of those 2 options.
Man, I like this. I got an Archer's Tempo Frenzy. I like it pretty well. And The only other one I have was like Ensemble Demo. I always hold on to things that are if they have Demolitionist and another halfway decent perk where I run a Warlock most of the time, and I want that grenade energy. I always hold on to those, but I'm not crazy about Ensemble personally this season. Have you guys messed around with it very much?
No, but reading it, it could be an alternative for like DPS in a well with your buddies nearby. Is the only thing that
Right.
come to mind
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Which doesn't if you're using a bow for DPS, you're doing it wrong. So
I
I
think
guess Leviathan's Breath would be the only.
I've only gotten 2 of these to drop, and I have not seen Impulse Amplifier or Adagio on there. So I saw them and I was like, I have enough arc bows, and scrapped it immediately.
That's my feeling on it too.
But like, if I
Whenever
get one with Impulse, yeah, I'm keeping it because that feels really good on a bow. It just does. I don't like it; just does. So I guess I'm looking out for that then.
Chad, we got a fusion rifle, and you're
Ooh,
Mr.
baby.
Fusion, so
I mean, I think
teach us the
aren't
ways.
we all Mister Fusion this season? All of us, every single
Listen,
one of
Yes.
us.
you were ahead of the curve, man. I'll give you credit
God,
on this.
I was
I've
fusioning in
I've
D1 back in
man,
the day.
I have really enjoyed my time with fusion rifles this season, and I never thought those words would come out of my mouth.
Well, I'm sad that you said what you said, but I'm glad that you said what you said. But yeah, we're talking about the Iota Draconis. It is a super high impact. It is, I think, the highest, even above Glacier Chasm, which is my favorite. Um, and so we're looking for, Jared put here, we're looking at small bore, liquid coils, under pressure, and high impact for PvP. Under pressure, high impact is kind of a go-to for fusions, and the best reasoning for that is you start off with it procced, so you immediately have high impact reserves on going on no matter what, and then under pressure is just great. So that too, like if you can get 2 kills per life with that thing, great. You can go to town on some people in PvP, and it's something you definitely like. If you max it out to 100 impact, you're waiting a whole second for that thing to charge, and it's taken me a minute. Like even if like as a Glacier Chasm main, it's it's a long time to be sitting there holding the trigger and waiting. So it's taken me quite some time to get used to. I'm still not as good with it as I am with Glacier Chasm, even with the change to Glacier Chasm 2. But in PVE, we're looking for some small bore liquid coils again. And then for me personally, I like the Feeding Frenzy combo. It's just if I'm going to be using this in PVE and I'm not using Null Composure because of all the explosions everywhere, I'm going to want to be using it and just reloading it and using it until the ammo's gone, and it's just blowing everything away. And so that's what I'm looking for. I mean, the good thing about this one is you can kind of go all over. You can go with cornered if you want. If you want like to jump into the fray and then like blow things up, it's like another version of surrounded. So it lets you do that kind of stuff. If you like kickstart, I don't really like it in PvE, but there's lots of combinations of stuff. Even the high impact under pressure is still good in PvE. It's just not as fun for me as that feeding frenzy.
So I put down small bore because it's range and stability.
Mhm.
To me, that makes sense. Just getting a little bit of both. Is there one of them that I should focus on instead of just split in the middle?
I mean, like I've said before, it's gonna be up to you. Your feeling for this kind of gun. It's like for everything else, I'll go with what you say. Like whether it needs range or it needs stability or it needs handling over the other ones. But fusions are in a weird place where they with more stability over range, one can just feel like it is more accurate to you personally because of the way, like if you, when I'm firing, as soon as that kick starts, I'm pulling back so that I can keep it laser beamed on my target. With a little more stability, you don't need to do that as much. But if I'm already used to doing that, then I want to go more range for me personally, because I'm already used to being able to like rein in the kick on it. So I'm already good at that. So I don't need the stability on it as much as I need the range. But I mean, small board's great because it just levels it out. It just incrementally moves both of them, which is just better overall for most people, for sure. I mean, I would go personally full bore just because I want that thing to go all the way across the map when I'm in PvP and just make people angry.
So, have you guys had this weapon drop like disproportionately more often than the other seasonal weapons? Because I've got like realistically, I've probably had like 14 or 15 of these things drop, and like the other ones, I'm not seeing near as much. I'm seeing like two or three, like in the last like maybe like one or two a week of the others. This one, it's like every single time.
For me, it's this one and the auto rifle, and this one pop up a lot for me.
Yeah.
And then like I'll see the grenade launcher, I'll be like, "Ooh, what's that?" Um, but yeah, no, it does. It is weird, but I think it's because those two, for me personally, were the ones that came earliest in the season. Because like I think right at the beginning of the season, she just gives you the hand cannon and the fusion right off the bat. So I don't know if that has to do with anything, but
No, I would also believe I would buy into the fact that Bungie's making this drop more because of the fusion rifle mods this season.
yeah,
That's kind of what I was gonna say. Like I feel like I've seen this probably 3 to 1 over any other weapon and 2 to 1 over like overall. Like if you add up all the other ones, I've seen probably almost double of this than all the others combined.
Yeah, I believe that. All right, our last seasonal weapon here, Canis Major, Solar Heavy Grenade Launcher. And Fox, you said you got a couple good rolls on this. So what are we looking at for PvP?
Yeah, so PvP, linear compensator, sticky grenades, impulse amplifier, so they get their faster chain reaction. So you got a chance to get some collateral kills with that. I've grown to kind of like these heavy grenade launchers in PvP. Do you guys use them very often, or do you guys go with something else?
I'm usually a rocket man.
I'm usually using only fusion rifles.
What what are you using for your heavy? Just curious.
Whatever is the highest light level.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. I mean, machine guns, like they're good. It's a super 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 high impact scout to me is how I see them usually.
Yeah. And PVE, volatile launch, spike grenades, clown cartridge, and then you can roll Vorpal on this. Chain reaction would also be pretty good if you're looking for like an ad clear version. I haven't got that chain reaction. I'm sorry, the clown cartridge Vorpal yet. That's the one I'm shooting for. But I do have a clown cartridge rampage, which has been pretty fun to mess around with. Um, not that we've done like a lot of in-game content, but it's pretty funny to go in and whenever you're just running these lost sectors on repeat and going through, you can kill those lost sector bosses pretty hilariously fast with this thing, with that roll on it. So I've really grown into the grenade launcher build, especially after last season. I kind of like them pretty well. What about you guys? Do you guys use them very often?
No, I really don't. I think the buff to rockets, like over the last few seasons, has really it took a bit to my liking. I still use swords too, especially
Yeah,
with the overload sword.
I like chain reaction on grenade launchers. It's a lot of fun. But since I got null composure and it's a fusion season, I'm using that instead. Um, Even last season, it was mostly about the breach load, grenade launchers, and anarchy for me. So I didn't use many of the heavies. Heavy grenade launchers since Garden of Salvation have always been kind of like a boss dump weapon. So I don't
Right,
really use
right,
them
right.
for ad clear. Um, but chain reaction is hilarious for ad clear.
Yeah, it's so stupid sometimes.
So I mean, if I get a roll like that, you bet I'm gonna be rocking it for just stuff, and I'm gonna equip that, and then what, I'm gonna use merciless for the boss DPS this time. Just thump
Right.
thump
Just
thump.
yeah. So I know that we don't have this on the rundown, but I do want to say I was able to get the Cartesian coordinate. I was able to get a Vorpal roll on it to drop the other day, so I was pretty happy for it. I know if you follow up on a lot of the tubers, It's doing some pretty wicked DPS at the moment. So make sure you guys look out for that as well. It is a world drop. I have got like 3 or 4 to drop this week. I probably played, I don't know, somewhere around 6 to 7 hours, probably the combined over the last 2 nights. And I've had a couple drops. So I'm seeing them. They don't have like a crazy low drop rate, I don't think. So make sure you keep an eye out for that to keep, especially, and if you don't have it, Null Composure does really well as also.
And you can focus for that Cartesian coordinate on Season of the Splicer engram stuff. As you have a 50% drop
Like
rate.
with the decrypted data or whatever.
The umbrals, yeah.
That is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know. I was cranking through those to get the tier 3 armor drops where they brought the cap back down to like 4 or whatever this season. I had a couple hammer charges and stuff left over. So don't forget you can do those and still get those armor pieces. Pro tip, the new ghost mods that came out this season that like guarantee like an intellect to be at least 10 or guarantee recovery to be at least 10, those do not work on the armor drops. So what I was doing was I was buying the discipline armor with the intellect ghost mod on. That way, because its intellect costs the most, I was trying to get like a 2010 or like a 1810 or something, and it didn't work on any of them. So that does not work. I sacrificed it for you guys.
Thank you for your sacrifice. So the last thing to note is that we said that we was getting stasis weapons this season. So 2 of them are in the seasonal weaponry. 1 of them is in Iron Banner, and then we're supposedly getting another one later this season. So I kind of wish that all these seasonal weapons were stasis weapons. I feel like that should have been the case, because that would have made me very happy.
Yeah, that would have been cool, but that's I understand why they didn't, because they try to add a little bit of variety into each season, and if you do that, do we have a kinetic slot fusion rifle right now?
No, I mean it's Bastion.
I know we have what Arbalest is, but that's a linear fusion technically, right?
Yeah.
We just got Bastion.
Just the 2 exotics, yeah.
Yeah. So I imagine that. I wonder what the new. Well, it's a linear fusion as well. I don't know. Do you think we'll ever get a kinetic or like I guess it would have to be a stasis fusion rifle, right?
It's gonna be a
That's the only
stasis
way.
one eventually.
Yeah.
But I think with the seasonal stuff, they have to make it so you can equip something in every slot, so that you can be seasoned out. So I understand why, but I would like to have had just a bunch of stasis guns, just poof, all of a sudden. And it is sad that I don't have a stasis fusion yet. One day I will.
Could have been triple fusion rifles at that
I know,
point.
triple slot. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's the world Chad someday hopes to live in.
It's gonna happen eventually.
So what have you guys been doing in regards to, I know that all of us have, because we're just really stupid and we play this game for so many hours that we come up with things to keep us going. What have you guys been doing in regards to stasis armor? Are you guys keeping any, or are you just doing exotics, or what have you guys been doing? Are you adding to your, if you're like me, I have like a solar void and arc legs chest, kind of have multiple pieces fully masterworked and everything. Are you guys just adding stasis? Like if you get new stuff, are you converting any of your old stuff over to stasis, or how are you guys handling that?
The first thing I did was masterwork a class item with stasis, and then I did a chess piece because I knew that there's to be more enemies with stasis damage. Just I was preparing, like thinking with some of the GMs we might need stasis resist. I don't know. That's the 2 I started with, because that's just 2 obvious places for me to put a stasis piece if I choose to be. I I converted one, and then I masterworked a few other slots just because I got a good roll. I was like, well, I need a stasis one, so just masterworked it.
Yeah, same here. Same thought process and everything. I mean, if I get something like I've said before, if I get something that's 65, I will immediately keep it. Anything under that, I'll look at just in case the distribution's right. So I keep my armor very low. I don't have very much armor in the vault either. So like each of my Titan is my main, so I have maybe I want to say 5 legendary pieces right now in each slot that I have masterworked. So it's adding one piece to every spot that is stasis for now. Um, isn't too hard to do, but of course I'm gonna, it's it's gonna be hard. Like Jared said, class item first because that's easy, and then chest piece for the resist just in case you need it, and then everything else is kind of secondary. Um, but it's been hard because I didn't want to convert anything. Everything's masterworked. I'm not doing that.
Right. Right. That's kind of the boat I've been in. I did have so I have like a Phoenix protocol of each flavor, and I still had 2 more sitting in the vault that were very well rolled, where we went on that. Whenever Lake of Shadows was up, like 3 or 4 seasons ago, we went on that big run, and I was fortunate to get several pieces to drop of it. So I was able to masterwork a Phoenix because I mean, realistically, in the GM, survivability is the most important thing. So I have a stasis one of those. I also did the armor piece, but man, I'm really struggling. Like my vault is an absolute mess right now, and so I've got to get something figured out because it's really holding me back. And where I made a warlock, I have several good warlock like armor pieces, but I don't really have a whole lot of the other classes. Like I have like 2 sets masterworked for each one, you know. But I don't know, man. I feel so restricted right now on everything. I wish there was a way that I could put like 4 golf balls into one legendary, and then I can just freely choose between the flavors of it at that point. So hopefully at some point we get to that. It's probably be 2 years, 3 years down the road if it ever even happens. So I don't know. We got to get something figured out, I think.
You're living on a prayer on that one, Fox. So next segment is Gambling Corner, and we got a doozy for you on this time. So we're still waiting on Chad's Vex to drop, and if it ever drops,
Not
we're
drop
still waiting on that bet to pay out.
How many, Chad? How many runs have you done this week?
this week. Only one. We haven't done much. None of the squad wanted to be on last night or the night before that, and then
At least on Tuesday.
Trials is coming back this weekend, which we talked about. So
So we have what, like 11 more chances at it? Is that right?
yeah, we still got 2 more this week, and then 12, 9, right? 9, 9 more. So 11.
Whew, man, we're getting low. I need this to pay out. The bankroll's getting, the wallet's getting thin.
Yeah. So as we wait for that to pay out, I'll give you a quick update on our current levels of Glimmer that we have. I'm at 8,300. Fox is at 5,000, and Chad's at 8,900. And so to play along with Chad trying to go for his Vex, our next gamble is going to be on our next Photo Glass run. And our raid teams always messed around. Somebody's AFK, and we never did a flawless. But what it is, always something happens. Somebody dies to opening a counter, nobody shoots a Cyclops, something happens.
Gifty.
So, so we're going to play along with that. So there's 3 people, us 3, have our individual lines, and then we have a line for a team wipe. So we won't call out the other people we will be playing with. So first up is Fox at minus 350, Chad at minus 300, myself at minus 250. We die to a team wipe at minus 300, and then we actually go flawless at plus 1,500. So looking at the odds, is there any, y'all see any value points, stuff you're like, I can't pass up those odds? What's going on?
Listen, my whole bet this week is purely a value bet. Um, I'm not like incredibly confident that we are going to go flawless our very first run after this. We have some competing viewpoints of where primarily I fully expect us. I think that we can definitely get through up to the Gorgon maze. At that point, if we get through that, we're gonna die at Atheon to a supplicant. Just go ahead and mark my words to it, because everybody wants to do the DPS on the stairs on the other side of the portal instead of just going to DPS island for whatever reason and just playing it safe. So, however, with the odds being, what were they, plus 1500
Yeah.
on those, I'm going to have to lay 1,000 glimmer down, which is going to pay out 15,000 glimmer on that. So that is the play for me. So I'm sorry, 1,000 glimmer will pay out 16,000. I will profit 15,000 from that. So
Chad, what are you looking at, man?
I'm looking at numbers. Me being the person that knows nothing about what's going on, I'm gonna be the most boring to listen to. So I'm gonna make this easy. I'm gonna put 1,000 on a team wipe, and that's it.
All right. So
all right, you had to tell us where do you think we're going to wipe at? At least give us that.
Where do I think we're gonna wipe at? I think something dumb's gonna happen at Templar by accident.
Okay, Templar.
Templar or
okay.
Oracles, where somebody's gonna do something. Well, challenge this week is Templar, so yes, high probability of Templar wipe because we want to do the challenge.
All right. So I'm doubling down on this week. My first bet is I'm putting 1,500 down on a team wipe to pay out 2,000, and then I'm putting 2,000 on us going flawless to pay out 32,000. So 2 bets this week, double action, hedging my bets. So, but there's still a chance that I don't win at all. So,
Yeah, if that pays out to where Jared, if we hit flawless, then we're done. Jared's pretty well got this. Luckily, it's a long season, so hopefully he'll get careless. We have to mention these odds did come from Mr. Vegas, that Moon Wizard, helping us out with the odds here. So we want to give him a shout out, and he better listen to everybody about DPS Island instead of wanting to do the damn stairs for DPS. I don't care how many shards of Galanor, blade barrages you can throw off up there. I want to stand in the well. I want everybody to shoot their 1,000 voices. I want 6,000 voices going to Atheon, and that's what I want to happen.
but I understand why you like DPS Island, but whenever we was trying to do the master clear, I don't know how many times we tried to do the island. It worked the first time, but then after that, it was like all stairs. Stairs always worked, and if you die to supplicants, you blame the people that was outside, not at clearing. Okay, that's the reason.
I consistently will clear the entire field of sups on the side that we're going to do stairs because I know that's the only danger.
Listen, my primary issue with doing it from the stairs, whenever somebody gets detained, which you have to, it happens at 19 seconds. Start shouting it out. Who's detained? Who's detained? Who's detained? Because nobody ever looks at the damn countdown timers on that side of the screen. Whenever you do it from the stairs, you don't have a whole lot of room to get out of the way. You either have to go behind everybody, so somebody has to turn around and shoot you, or you have to go towards the boss, and he has that boss stomp mechanic that is pretty deadly. And if there's any supplicants that are left, they're kind of hovering around the boss on the opposite staircase. And I just think it's too easy to die. It works fantastic if you're just trying to get a fast clear, but for like a flawless, I don't think it's the best play.
All right, I guess we'll play it out and see how it goes. So many things happened this week, and I don't know about you. I wasted time in that dang Shadow Throne going opening chests and finding other pointless objects. But I bet Chad found some enjoyment out of it, and he's probably found some lore to talk about through it.
Oh, I did so much enjoyment from the Shattered Realms. I think I'm the only one here that truly enjoys them. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about the Maracena again. Um, this is going to be multiple parts. I think this is going to be like 3 or 4 parts. There's the Maracena goes into another book that has another bunch of chapters, and it's a lot of information, but it's all about the Awoken, and we're gonna go start where we left off after they made the basically the tenets for them, the rules, the major rules. Um, so they after the queen is crowned, Queen Alice Lee, the Awoken spend their time exploring and basically charting the land. And during this period of exploration, Queen Alice Lee created agriculture and preserved the technology that was aboard the what they call the ship spire, which is the colony ship that made it through the wormhole to that plane. And they had a major city in the around the ship spire, and then they also had made some forests and stuff like that with separate tribes of Awoken, and those tribes just full of huntresses. And Mara's group, Mara, Uldren, and Osana, their mother, were one of a couple of the people that actually spent their time in the tribes. So they were on the outskirts of the Awoken civilization, um, and it, they were lots of adventure, lots of exploration. Like I said, hunters and pioneers sought to shape the world. Sailors charted the rivers and the perimeters of the seas. Astronomers plotted the motion of the heavens. And after Alice created agriculture, um, they the forests and many of the huntresses and other tribes preferred their freedom and the comfort and duty and from the life in the city. So among them, they lived Osana, who was very important. She's kind of like the main negotiator amongst the tribes for the city and the tribes. And Uldren ended up becoming a scout and a hunter. Mara actually went off and dwelt alone amongst a mountaintop on her own. She liked to be alone. As we knew from before, she liked to live out on the hull of the colony ship. So that's how she spent her time in solitude, and she ends up doing that here as well. Now, in the forests and the tribes, they had a belief that the Awoken made out of friction between contesting forces, and that one day this conflict would need to be resolved. These were the Acaliists, who preached that the Awoken owed a debt to the cosmos. In the cities, though, they lived by the seventh verdict under their queen, and they said that the Awoken had been created by a cosmic gift and carried neither responsibility for the supposed debt to the cosmos. And they were the Sanguine. And they preached that the Awoken were as stable as an atom of carbon. Now, there were those among the Acaliists, a woman out of the 891 who called herself the Diacer. She went to the city and said, "I accuse the queen of deicide." And everyone kind of flabbergasted at the thought. And then she continued, "Alice Lee was the first to awaken in this world. She set the terms of our existence. We could have been gods, free of want or suffering. Instead, Alice Lee chose our mortal form. Our queen is complicit in all the pain we experience. The queen murdered all our unborn godheads." And at the thought that the queen without secrets had kept this most appalling secret to herself, the Sanguine city folk were deeply troubled. And that was the beginning of the Theodicy War. Now, Alice Lee and Mara look upon a funeral of several Awoken, and Alice is lamenting the start of the war, and then she asks Mara, "Why do you love lies so much?" Mara says, "Not lies, secrets. Even if everyone shared a single truth, all our minds would produce different versions of the truth. We speak these subtruths, and like flowers of different seed, the subtruths compete for the light of our attention. In time, only the fiercest and most provocative strains remain. They are not always the truest. Better to keep secrets, your majesty. Better to tend a great mystery, and so starve the flowers before they can grow. That is how I would be queen." Alice then looks at Mara and asks her to call for her mother so that they can negotiate a peace. Um, Now, they have decided as a people that the death of an immortal wastes the infinite potential of what they may become. An immortal's grief and murder guilt left untended will never fade. Thus, it became known to those who fought in the Theodicy War that they had committed an incomparable evil. Osana and Queen Alice meet, and they agree that as immortals, they need to foster new life and end the war, even knowing that the Diacerm still craves secret knowledge from someone. And during the peace, Queen Lee abdicates, so she gives up the throne to someone else. Now, Uldren and Osana make their way to Mara's new home in the woods. She moved from the mountains to the woods. Um, Upon meeting with Osana, says the Achelios are her creation. Her mother tells her brother. The Diacerm was her pawn. She allowed the Theodicy War because she was afraid we'd be too comfortable here. Also, so Queen Alice would need her help politically. Mara couldn't afford to be the most radical dissident. She had to seem moderate for her beliefs to thrive. Isn't that right, Mara? And Mara looks at her, and her fears are unfounded. She realizes that her mother doesn't realize fully what she's been trying to do. And then we actually hear about the Genesim scribes for once. They were scholars who traced their origins back to Kelda Waj, the All Teacher, someone who is absolutely gifted in being able to teach anyone anything that she can understand. She can basically turn any kind of knowledge into a drink for someone to absorb and be able to fully comprehend. And so the Genesim scribes had a description of the distributary. It is a sweet watered, and there are no poisons upon it. The temper of the climate is even. Great broad-pawed cats stalk the shallow glades, and brilliant blue flamingos promenade upon the flats. The air is thick and warm, suited for flight, and the wind tastes of forest. No dawn has ever been as glorious as the salt glade dawn, and no dusk has ever moved women to weep as deeply as the sunsets and the Chrysiads. Corsairs sport upon the open seas, and where they waylay freighters rather than each other, they give rumor and assistance to their prey in proportion to the quality of the chase. Beloved are the stories of young lads and lasses who leap across the Corsair ship for a life of adventure. Beloved also are the terraced farms of the Andalayas mountains, so mighty and so dense with radioactives that they subside year by year into the crust. Most beloved are the Fissioneers who vaulted as to power on a world without petrochemicals. May they forgive the many stories of horror we have told in their memory. May they in particular forgive the lurid stories of the molten lead reactor and the 12 who were impaled to the ceiling by their control rods, and the core that stopped. Now all the Achelios who remained from the ancient days whispered that soon the day of reckoning would be known, and the day that the Awoken would be called to repay their debt. Now in the court of one of the scribes there appeared a woman of stellar height and furious wrath, armed with a bow that could only be strung if she twined it around her body and used her whole mass to bend it. I am Sir Ido, said the woman, and I accuse Mara of the ancient murder of my lady, the Diacerm. In my saddle I have a weapon with only one death remaining. Take me to Mara, and I will deliver it. The scribes consulted and said to each other that this foul murder might prevent another Theodicy war. So they gave Sir Ido all their knowledge they had to hunt Mara. So, as the population grew within this tributary, there were some Woken that were troubled by their mortality, still believing that they're undeserving of it. After many years, the new queen, Nuya Pin, declares that she is now an avowed Acheliast, and that she would lead the quest to identify whatever debt the Awoken owed the cosmos. It was time to pursue a dream beloved to all Awoken, the conquest of space, and the assessment of the true shape and age of their universe. So now they're going to spend time creating rockets in order to get to space and see what's going on in the universe. Sir finally finds Mara and says, I cannot live while you live, but I cannot bear to kill you. I challenge you to a duel to the agony. I will fight your most beloved companion to the death and leave you forever maimed or else die in the attempt. Mara obviously accepts this, and she gives the job to Uldren, who is her right-hand man. And he says, we cannot put it all on a single fight. Too much would be left to chance. Such an old grudge deserves to be tested well. I propose a fight with a blade, with a rifle, and with 5th generation air superiority fighters. and Seer accepts as well. Now the first fight is going to happen with the blade. It's going to happen in that order. But as all this is happening, the Genesim scribes fall into a panic. All of this transpires in front of the newest queen, and they believe that if Seer wins, there's going to be repercussions for all of them. So they start to fall apart. They pull their funding basically of all the rockets and stuff that's going on to take them to space, and the queen knows this. She sees it, but Seer walks up to Mara right before the bout, and she says, "Are you afraid? Do you sweat? Does your breath come short?" And Mara presses her hand to Seer's faceplate and left no stain. She held Seer's gauntlet to her heart so Seer could feel her steady pulse and even breath. "You don't care about him," Seer pressed her. "It would mean nothing if I maimed him?" "You asked the right questions," Mara says, "but of the wrong sibling." Then Seer understood that she fought a man who would always express his love through loss and ordeal. Now the fight is a blur of knives, one weaving through the other. Seer uses very straightforward jabs against Uldren's more whirling and deceptive theater. And after some time, the fight ends with them both falling into the cooling pond below to a draw. Now the next bout takes place in a jungle, and they are set to hunt each other with rifles. They stalk each other for a while, for I want to say a couple of weeks, 6 weeks, and Seer is a soldier. She has no respect for the jungle, while Uldren is a hunter, and he stalks his prey like such. But Seer realizes that as a soldier, she can pull this to her advantage. She drives animals into a frenzy with violence and habitat disruption. Parrots and crows warned each other of Uldren's stealthy hiding, and jealous predators forced him away from his scouted trails. Seer catches him with his back against a rift lake and shoots him. While the wound isn't enough to kill him, it's enough to concede the match to her. Now the next fight is going to be in basically airships. And so Uldren says, "Will we have all access to all the weapons these airframes can equip?" Seer says, "Of course, and anything we cannot be obtained will be simulated." Uldren then chooses a dart, an ancient interceptor that has awful fire control, dismal maneuverability, and very primitive weapons. Seer says, "A dart? Will you fly with its original weapons too? You think you can beat me with rockets and a gun?" At 80 kilometers of separation, Uldren called across the radio, "Fox 3, kill. Engagement over." Seer sneers at the bluff and prepares to climb in a snap attack when the killed alert flashes on her screen. She'd forgotten that the dart is equipped with a nuclear payload, and she had died because he launched a nuke at her. Simulated, but it counts. So on the tarmac, Seer throws off her helmet and her parachute and kneels before Maharsov and says, "My lady, as I have fought your brother to a tie, I leave my fate in your hands. Be more kind to me than you were to my lady the Diaserm." Mara says, "Rise, Seer Ido. Let us take the stars together." Now, after observing a successful rocket launch, the new queen says, "That's it. Choose your replacement. My work is done, and I will stomach no more." Mara smiles and says, "Is the queen's work ever done?" He says, "Oh, don't insult me. You used me to do your work politically and scientifically. You used me to bundle up the scribes in a neat little scroll for your disposal. I went along with it for the sake of the monarchy, Mara, not because I'm a fool. I don't know what you want or why you're so bent on keeping the Awoken uneasy and dissatisfied. I don't know how you manipulate the acclamations, but I want and abdicate. I am going to find Alice Lee, wherever she's gone, and ask her all my questions about you. I'm very interested to know the answers." "You've been a wonderful queen," Mara says. "No one will ever replace you." Now she has new thoughts as to who the other queens are, or who the, queen could be. But she leaves that in her mind. And she sees new stars. Mara put them there. A huge distributed array telescopes orbit the distributary's cool sun. Gravity wave sensors and cold primordial neutrino detectors spider the crust. So they've created a way in order to see into space now. They have a way to look at the singularity that brought them here. Now, the days of covert speed chess in the Queen's Court are over. She's successfully won and completed what she wants to do, but Seer Ido's open endorsement makes Mara the face of Achilleism, and arms her with the blackmail over the Genesis scribes who were still in power. Now, Mara has a way to get off the planet. Rockets are done, and singularity is within sight for her. They just need to create ships to get out of there. But the next setup is a bunch of chapters back to back, and we'll leave that for next time.
So you mentioned two Awoken there. Who was Mara's girlfriend?
When? Which part?
So who is? So those are Awoken woman that like had the bow, right? Was that Mara's girlfriend at one point?
That had the bow? No, that was Sheer.
Okay.
The woman that has the bow that she has to bend it with her whole body was that was Sheer.
She sounds thick with like 3 C's.
Yeah, she's gigantic.
So I'm a big fan of hers.
Is that the bow that we got? The Wish Ender?
Yeah, the Wish Ender, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like 6 feet tall, but since it's already set up, it's obviously bent instead of what it should be. But yeah, no, it's gigantic. You guys ever strung a bow before?
I've shot a bow. I've shot many bows. My dad is a bow hunter. He kills deer with bows. But I've never strung a bow. So
it's even
I have a boiled bow tie pasta and added some Alfredo sauce.
Pretty much the same thing. Really.
Yeah, that counts. That's funny.
So does Mara have a? Who is Mara's love interest? Does she have a love interest at all?
Not even a little bit. All she's doing is creating the machinations in which she can control the queen, which she used to successfully create the rockets and make the ways for her and the people that want to follow her to get off of the distributary and back into our universe. Because initially they got pulled in there by a singularity that was created when light and dark clashed. And now she's trying to find a way out to get back.
Okay, so what is her? So you know how like we know Callus, his main goal was to be like the last person standing. What's Mara's goal? Does she have a goal? Like what drives her? What is her number one thing that she's trying to accomplish?
She's so mysterious that I can say I have no clue. Honestly, she is so far she does not ever accurately state anything in particular. She is known for never giving a direct answer as a person. She will never answer the question you ask, and she will always push it to something else. And she will answer it in a roundabout way where you will understand the answer some way, but not how she means it. So
I got you.
Throughout all the stuff that she's talked about, we've never been like in her head. It's never been her talking about what she's thinking while she's doing all her like 3D chess. She just does what she does. And ever since she became awoken, when she was a human still, you did have that portion where it was narrated by her in her head, where she talked about the emotions she was feeling and stuff like that. But as soon as she became awoken, she did not like, there is no Mara narrator anymore so far.
All right, so I know that obviously you're my go-to guy for the lore above all the other lore guys. So where does Mara rank for you? Like, do you think she's interesting? Is she just kind of like a run-of-the-mill character? Is she somebody that is like the top 20%? Like out of all the other characters, like how do you feel about her compared to some of the others?
She's definitely very interesting just for the fact that she's mysterious. Like I said, she doesn't ever answer questions directly. So her plans, like her plan with Savathun right now, I bet she already knows what's going to happen, and she's using that to her benefit. She's gonna win out by letting Savathun do what she wants somehow, and it's gonna end up in her favor because she's that brilliant. I mean, in the distributary, like I said before, they are immortal. Next time I'm going to talk about the guesses as to how much time they've spent in there, because time's different since it's in a singularity.
Right.
But the guesses so far are in between a couple thousands and a couple billions of years old.
Wow.
So she's old enough
That's
to know a lot of things and be very clever.
she looks good for her age. I have to
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely.
It kind of like, what was her power that she used to freeze Savathun? Like, that's like not something that, like, I don't think we've seen in Destiny, right?
No, well, I think it is going to be talked about next time. But I will say that when the Awoken come back to our side of this universe in the Distributary, they are gifted with their immortality and are given basically paradise. Once they come back, their whole being is connected to the Distributary in that way by being gifted that immortality. In coming back to this universe, they sever that connection to the Distributary and instead connect to light and dark, being that they're right on the line of both sides, and that gives them acausal powers of magic, as it's known by the scientists. Because in the Distributary, they didn't have any abilities; they simply had the science that was left over from the colony ship, all the scientists that were on board and had their knowledge at the time, and then they created more science, and over thousands of years. And they didn't create science based off of war. They created science based off of necessity and curiosity. So all the things that they made while they were there are unbelievably advanced, and not for the reasoning of killing people, just because they needed to be advanced in order to study. Um, so think of them as like the ultimate scholars if humanity was able to do something with unlimited funds without having to worry about a benefactor. Um, and so they, I think that once they connected to this universe, getting that light and darkness energy at the same time gifted them with what magic, and their scientists can't, they say magic, they don't have a specific, um they don't have science behind it, because all the science that they knew didn't make sense anymore. Physics, it didn't obey physics, it didn't obey chemistry, any of that stuff, so they didn't know what to call it besides magic.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably part of the reason. Like Dreaming City has always been like such a cool place, and I going back there this season. It's I haven't, I already know all the secrets of the Dreaming City as far as like the actual destination. So hopefully we get that 15th wish or something to kind of drive it forward. Um, because I still really love it, and I'm afraid that Forsaken's going to go away probably about a year from now. I imagine Forsaken's probably going to be the next content vault if they continue with the content vaulting. But man, it's going back there it's been such a treat. I've really enjoyed it.
All right. It's time for the mailbag. First question here is, for the Witch Queen raid, do you want the quest exotic? You want the exotic to be a quest or a random drop? I want the random drop. I want the excitement.
I I want the random drop at the same time. I hope it is a quest because I don't want to be Chad and be weeks after everybody else still trying to get it. So selfishly I want it to be a quest. Realistically, it's better for the game if it is a random drop.
It doesn't matter if it's not a quest, Ryan. You're still gonna get it faster than the rest of us. God.
So I think what Bungie needs to do is like what they did for the what's the time lost shotgun to Vault of Glass? I forgot the name of it.
Oh,
The found verdict.
Yeah,
Yep.
Found Verdict. That's it. That's what they need to do. Additionally to the random drop. So in the master mode, if you do all the challenges, you get the exotic as part of the completing the triumph.
Right.
And
So worst case scenario, you're getting it like 8 weeks into the season or something. Like you get
yeah, so like by the end of
yeah.
the season, you put the time in and you grinded to get those challenges done in probably the hardest PVE content in the game, then you get it. You automatically get it. That's an
or
avenue.
or a flawless, like a full flawless run, like a Petra's run, or the equivalent of. I still think a flawless should give you the exotic if you don't have it.
Yeah, I think they should give her an avenue, not week one, but later on in the season that you put your time and effort into to get the weapon, not by quest, by something else that's in the game.
I think I agree with you. I think that's probably the best way. The um the only bad part about the quest is if you don't do it like in the first season or something like that, you're probably going to have a hard time trying to get like a divinity run right now. I don't imagine a lot of people want to sit through and do and add an extra 30 minutes onto their divinity onto their Garden of Salvation run to do all the divinity stuff with.
I mean, this season and seasonal mods, it might be no easier time to go get the divinity run though. Done. Everybody use 1K on the bosses. It should be quite easy one phase or two phase. All right, this next question is for Chad. Is Siva ever coming back to this? Ever coming back to Destiny?
I mean, I'm gonna say this with 100% certainty, probably. It's too good of an asset for them not to. The main reason that I'm gonna say yes, question mark, is because of the way they set up Rasputin. Um, they put him in a place where Anna Bray is taking care of him, but as soon as he has a solid body and is ready to go, he might be like, you know what, I need Siva right now because I'm not as strong as I used to be, and he might, take it. And so there might be that season where we're chilling with him in a body and Siva, and he's given us Siva stuff that we can control because he's in control of it. And it's even more of a factor that the Brays are the ones that created Siva, and his friend is Anna Bray, the only, like, well, I would say surviving member, but there's also Elsie, but the only one that's left in a human form anyway. So it's high probability if they pop back into the game, we are going to have Siva involved with them as well.
So I'm just going to throw something out there as this off what is the top of my head. So like in Lightfall, what if we lose our light abilities? And then Rasputin comes and says, "Hey, I got some Siva stuff that you can use," and now we have Siva abilities and
Let's go
absent
Fallen
of a
with it.
light. Yeah,
Yeah, basically go the way of Fallen, because Fallen have been fighting us for a long time, and they don't have the light. So if they can fight us toe to toe like that, if all we do is, you know what, we want machines too, instead.
And I mean, they've been hinting at it. Like, I mean, the Syntheseps ornament is like Siva based. I mean, we've been getting the stuff in the Eververse. And then, the Outbreak Prime has like the Siva type ornaments as well. So I imagine that there is entirely too much time and too much story that needs to be told. The assets are already there because from Rise of Iron in D1. So I would say it's a pretty safe bet it's going to come back. I just don't know if it's going to be, I don't expect it to be a major expansion thing. I expect it to be more of like a seasonal thing personally. So it'd be a good thing to add like halfway through a season, probably not this year, maybe the next, like the Lightfall, like in between Lightfall and the final shape, add it in there like in the summertime or something to kind of add it in. It's kind of my expectations.
what if it's after all that? What if the darkness leaves us? What if the light leaves us, and all of a sudden, that's what we have left is Siva?
I mean, it could be. I mean, you'd have to think it would be like a lot of the stuff's already done for it, right? So, I mean, you'd have to think it would be a lot easier than creating a new subclass or a new enemy type. It's basically modified fallen is what it was. So, I mean, it is a possibility, but they can't we can't be friends with the fallen last season and then a season or two later we're fighting the fallen. So, I imagine it'll be at least a year away. If it comes back, that would be my guess.
All right. Our next question is who's going to tell Crow about, well, you know, I guess this is about him killing Kate 6. Is that what this is about?
Oh no, I thought it was going to be telling him who Mara is, so he doesn't try to boink her.
Yeah,
Um,
he's kind of hot for his sister right now. It feels
I
like
mean,
it feels like a hub storyline at
I
the
mean,
moment.
he's kind of been thirsty for like 2 seasons now. He asked about Amanda Holiday. He asked about Akora. Now he's asked about Mara. I mean,
it'd be cool if him and
Oh no,
him and Amanda ended up.
he better leave Ikora alone. Ikora's here. She's guarding the fox house, so
Oh man. I
he
mean,
can't handle
honestly,
he can't handle Ikora. That's all I'm
it's
saying.
got to be if
Dumps
it's
like a
not
truck.
us, if it's not us or Saint. Um,
I mean
who's it going to
Petra.
be? Petra when she's mad? Like she just angrily tells him something? I don't think she would do that.
I don't
She's
know,
she's
man.
she's she's too old to make that stupid mistake.
Didn't they get a little heated this week?
They
Actually,
did, yeah. Yeah,
wasn't
they did,
I
yeah.
took a
yeah.
screenshot of her holding a knife to his throat. Yeah, I don't know. And like I took the screenshot too because both of them was like glowing with stuff on their faces too.
Yes, the light dog and dark.
Well, but Petra's not
I
of
didn't
that.
look at it that close.
Petra's not what?
Petra don't have the light.
She's awoken. They are all
Oh,
like that.
they all look that way. They
Yeah.
always have that like ripples glowing through their face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But even though with Crow in the cutscenes, when he's going through,
Yeah, they might not animate it in cutscenes.
okay, because like whenever he
Crow
killed
sucks, dude.
Cade, he had all this like
I hate
taken stuff on
Crow.
him.
I hate Crow. I hate Aldrin. I hate everything about it. I feel like it was a lot cooler before it actually happened. The thought of it, like, oh, he's gonna come back and nobody's gonna know. But they've kind of like sat on it for too long that I'm kind of over the whole Crow storyline.
This guy.
We'll see. We'll see what happens throughout the season if he sticks around or not. And yeah. All right. Next question here is: do you still like the drip feed style for content? Is the best way for Bungie to tell a story? All right. So for me, I don't like how they would give out seasonal content and then like we're waiting for the final story part to happen. Like even though we finished it all on week 9, and they wait till week 13 to do the last one. I think it just needs to happen week by week, and then if
Talking
it's
about like the epilogue, like how they
yeah,
did the epilogue last season.
yeah. So like I just want it all to happen week by week. If we have 5, 6, 8 weeks left in the season, that's fine. Just let those last 8 weeks be nothing but playing playlists, doing strikes, doing raids, and just be done with the story content.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it when it's an event like the Almighty, um, or an end of expansion event like what happened with the Rivals. Um, but having like 10 weeks of like having that ninth week be the story end and then having the 10th week be where it shows the final like thing so that people can just do whatever they want for the rest of the season is what I would prefer over them waiting till like the last week of the season to have the epilogue. That's kind of annoying to me. I'd like to know what's going to happen versus having to wait just because. If it's a just because reason, I'm not a fan of that. If it's like they're spreading it week to week to week and it just keeps going that way until the story's out, do that. Don't like go to 9 and then be like, oh, we leave the cliffhanger till the end. No, don't do
Mm-hmm.
that to me, man.
Yep.
I'm still gonna play. Just tell me what's gonna happen, and then be fine. I'm okay with the story being dragged out, but not for no reason like that. And this season's definitely feels a lot slower for sure. I'm hoping there's more build up over time with Savathun and stuff, but it's like you can get through the story content very quickly, and then that's it. And then it's like, well, is there Is there other stuff to do, or like, am I waiting for
Listen,
something else?
this man, this season's I'm not liking this season. I think the weapons kind of suck. I think that it's better than Season of the Hunt. The but the flow of the season of doing the astral horizons or whatever they're called, and going into the dreaming city, into the blind well, and doing that, and then going in, doing all that foolishness, and then going into that godforsaken giant dark land and trying to figure out secrets and stuff. And um I'm just not a fan of it. This season isn't for me. It's for people that enjoy that type of stuff. I'm just not that type of guy. So I haven't enjoyed this season. Unfortunately, I'm kind of stuck until the 15.5 comes out with the anniversary collection. I'm looking forward to that much more than I am this season. So the way I see it is, let me do my GMs, let me do all this stuff, crank all this out, and then I want to go play Overwatch with my boys here. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I there's no weapons to grind for. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do until February.
To me, it's going to be finishing Jedi Fallen Order and playing New World. I'm not playing Overwatch.
Going to New World, huh? Have fun, man. Hope you
Yeah.
love it. Hope you love it. I'll play Halo for a week, but I refuse to play that game until the co-op campaign comes out. So I'm boycotting that until then.
Do you realize that's going to be like a week before Witch Queen comes out?
Looks like I got a week to beat Halo Infinite then, I guess.
Hey man, we beat all the other ones in one night. So what's
Yeah,
the
I
matter
did
with
pretty
that?
well. Yeah. All right, I think we're at our last question. If you were to have a dinner party with 3 people from the game/lore, who would you choose? Please do this in a snake draft, and nobody is allowed to pick the same person. So I was trying to think of who was going to go first. I figured we would just do a RNG, numbers 1 through 100. Chad, what number do you choose? And whoever's the closest will get to choose the draft order. So Chad, you can choose your number first, 1 to 100.
Oh, I see. Okay, so we're picking a number and the RNG, whoever's closest.
Yeah, I have the
Gotcha.
RNG pulled up right now.
All right, 33.
Jared, go ahead.
I'll go 34.
The smart person in me would choose 35, but I'm going to choose 69. And the answer is 53. So I think I'm slightly closer than Jared. So I get to choose the order. I'm going to go first. Chad is going to go second. Jared is going to go third. So we get to choose 3 people to have a dinner party with. So my first pick is going to be Callus.
Fair. That's expected. Mara.
So I get 2. Right now I got back-to-back picks.
Yeah, you'll get back-to-back picks, Jared.
Elsie and Anna Bray.
This guy. Son. Shoot. Same 14.
Oh, no. I'm going to choose Shax. And then my last pick is going to be up until this season, I would have definitely put Osiris in here. Osiris is kind of low for me at the moment. So I think that I am going to go Drifter.
Of course. Callus and Drifter. I knew those 2 were going to be his picks. I didn't know the third. Since I'm picking my last one, I'm going to go real Osiris.
And Jared, you get the last pick.
I think I'm gonna go with. I don't know about this one. Just give me Ikora.
Jared, you definitely lost this one, in
That's
my
okay.
opinion.
I'm still winning.
So Jared's just trying to pick up a chick at his. He's picked three to go with.
First of all,
I am
Ikora's gonna
personally
know everything about the shadows, so like it's gonna be a good
Yeah, it's
dinner
gonna be a
there.
good conversation there.
that's true. But I have Callus, so I'm gonna have the most like succulent dinner party of all time.
It's
Got
gonna be a
the
feast, my
drifter.
friend.
It's gonna be a feast. We're gonna have wine. There's gonna be just goblets and chalices everywhere. Probably axes and dogs and sons as well. And then we got Drifter coming in to just mix it up a little bit. We got Shax. He's just gonna scream about how good the pasta and all that stuff is. So, so that was our last mailbag question. Uh, give us a tweet who you think had the best dinner party. I know it'll be me. I know that's
No,
going to be the
definitely chat.
choice. So otherwise, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Destiny CC Pod. Make sure you follow our boy at Link Uptime G, who that is his Twitter handle. He's the one that did our intro music. That is super dope. So just hit us up on there, and I'm gonna let these other guys sign off.
Yeah, if you want a question in the mailbag, you can either join the Discord and message us on there, send us a DM on Twitter, send us a DM in game, like whatever it is, however you find us and play with us, or we'll play with you and we'll get some loot and answer your questions.
If you guys have any other lore questions, I always appreciate it. It's always fun to see what people are curious about. See what's like my favorite anything in Destiny ever. It's my favorite. It's my background on my phone. It's my background on my computer. I love it. So
Yep.
thanks for that question, particularly. Throw more at me. Whatever you got.
Yep. Cheers, Bungie. 7 years. Here's the 7 more.
Happy birthday, Destiny. We love you. And most importantly, I love you guys.